Let's talk about that message and its impact. Joining me right now is pollster and communications strategist Frank Luntz and Democratic strategist Chuck Rocha. Thanks, guys, for being here. Chuck, let me start with you. I want to play for you something else that we heard from Donald Trump this weekend. Listen to this.
For 4 straight years, she's imported an army of illegal alien gang members and migrant criminals from the dungeons all over the world. They come from prisons and jails, insane asylums, mental institutions, from Venezuela, from the Congo, all over.
Chuck, you have talked about what concerns you is this kind of language should turn voters away, but it doesn't. And you focus a lot on Latino voters. How does this fit in to the appeal to them?
Well, this message is actually for suburban women. And let me make my cases. In every race that I'm working in the 20 congressional races, Republicans use this language because, as y'all said earlier, abortion is a major issue here. So Republicans know it's their Achilles heel, and they are trying to demonize immigrants and Latinos to say, you should not vote for the Democrats because they're going to come and get you. And don't forget about this Dobbs things. So they're trying to scare people back to their party. Now, what that does with Latino voters, I'm in Arizona today, I campaigned out here all weekend, is that you start seeing an erosion of folks, mainly older Latinos who are closer to the immigration experience, saying, is he talking about us? Is he talking about my community or my grandmother who immigrated here? So it's a double-edged sword that cuts both ways. But specifically, what he did yesterday is to scare white women who he is losing dramatically because of abortion and Dobbs back to him with a scare tactic.
And add to this conversation, Frank, in what you've heard and seen on the campaign and from all the focus groups that you've run. I thought it interesting in the New York Times and some of the polling this weekend that the poll found that the escalating attacks on immigrants had not driven Latino voters, from Trump to Harris. 2/3 of those surveyed said they believe Trump was not referring to people like them when he spoke about immigrants. What are you hearing from voters?
And it really is the same thing. For immigrants, for Latinos, for all Americans, the number one issue is not immigration, it's affordability. How to afford to put food on your table, put gas in your car, health care and housing. That's number one. Number two is that they regard our immigration system as being broken, fundamentally broken. Democrats agree, Republicans agree. They have different solutions. But third, and probably most important, what we regard as horrific language, and I'm shocked by it, it's not having an impact because those who live in these border states, in Arizona, for example, or Nevada, which has a significant Latino population, they're afraid. Crime has gone up there. Violence has gone up there. And the concern right now is if we don't get control of that border, it's only going to get worse. Harris made a statement, which I was surprised by it, which is there's no difference between her campaign or her issues and Joe Biden's issues. On immigration, the public thinks the Biden-Harris administration has failed. I would have counseled Trump not to be so negative, not to be so personal, to dial it back. But it actually is working, which is why you see the numbers that you do with Latino voters.
And Chuck, if I can ask you, when Frank's talking about affordability is such a key issue, and one demographic that we know that affordability is absolutely a key issue is a group that the Harris campaign is now laser focusing in on, which when it comes to black men. And I want to play for you what Jim Clyburn told Dana Bash just this weekend.
Yes, I am concerned about black men staying home or voting for Trump. But my concerns don't tend to keep me from being energetic about this campaign.
Chuck, are you concerned like Clyburn's concerned?
I'm very concerned. And the reason I'm concerned is just a little bit. Like let's ground this, that black men and black women were overwhelmingly support Vice President Harris. Yeah. Black women at 90%, black men at over 85%, but that needs to be even higher if she can win the 3 most important states that your network talks about all the time is Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, lots of African Americans, Michigan, Detroit, lots of African Americans. And in Milwaukee, if you have just a 2% loss of not Latino, but black men move to Donald Trump, there's no way Harris can win. So sure, we all get nervous. We're overwhelmingly winning them. But the big difference here is really focused on younger black men. When James Clyburn first ran for office, you could talk to every black man on 3 TV stations. Now that has been broadened across thousands of stations, streaming, podcasts, and it's harder to reach a young black male, just like, ironically, we were just talking about Latino voters. The average age of a Latino voter is 27. That's why you start seeing the slippage there. It's harder to get the message to them because they're more disconnected. They don't have a landline at home. They're more transient. They rent properties. So any poster like Frank or anybody else just knows it's harder to get a message to that younger group.
And Frank, you've done focus groups with exactly this. You've done it with younger black men. What sticks out to you in those conversations that the campaigns would be wise to listen to in their final pitch?
That they actually like Trump's attitude. That we may be negative in this discussion, but they're tired of being targeted by the government. They're tired of being forgotten or left behind. They're tired of being criticized. They see Donald Trump and they see themselves in him. Not the wealth, but they see opportunity. They see the chance to be heard and the chance to fight back. It's not an anti-Harris vote among young black men. It is a pro-Trump vote. It's going to be 1/3 of the young black men, and that will affect Georgia and North Carolina more than any other states.
One thing John Berman was talking about it earlier, Kamala Harris made a shift this weekend and started focusing on a bit of a new focus in her tone, focusing on kind of age and mental acuity of Donald Trump, saying that he's weak, he's unstable, they're hiding him. Why are they hiding him? Do you think this work from your conversations with voters? Does it work when it comes to Donald Trump? Less a message of he is dangerous, more a message of he's weak and unstable.
No, we know everything there is to know. There's nothing new about Donald Trump. She should be talking about herself, promoting herself. In fact, if I was a Democratic advisor, I would not be focusing on the negative because it's not telling anyone anything they haven't heard. They do not know where she stands on the issues. They do not know why she's changed her point of view in some cases. And she is preferred to Trump in her likability, in her persona. Why is she not focusing on that? Trump is dragging her down, and that's hurting her campaign.
Big choices, important ones to be made on where you're putting resources, time, and personnel in these last moments. It's great to see you both. Frank, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Chuck, it's great to see you. Thank you. Sarah?